Avengers Infinity War saw the greatest MCU threat of the time finally come out of the shadows and commenced his quest to assemble the 6 fabled Infinity Stones for himself. Throughout the course of the film, Thanos was able to go toe-to-toe with the Incredible Hulk, ravage the Asgardian refugee vessel, and march through our favorite Avengers with relative ease. Even the likes of Iron Man and Doctor Strange, who stood the best chance at slowing the Mad Titan down, were eventually overpowered and defeated. But is it possible that the What If series just proved that there was an incredibly simple solution regarding one of the strongest Avengers to stopping Thanos? One Avenger capable of stopping him utterly in his tracks and preventing the decimation. Well, stick with us, watchers of the Marvel Multiverse, as we explore the possibility that Vision could have killed Thanos in the closing minutes of Infinity War, and discuss a few reasons why he did not. The first question is, could Vision have defeated Thanos? All signs point to yes, but there are a few factors to consider. The first is that the Mind Stone is the primary source of Vision's power. It is what allows him to fire these laser blasts, as well as what allows him to phase. We see evidence of this in Civil War, specifically in the scene where Hawkeye infiltrates the compound in order to liberate Wanda. Wanda gets past Vision by manipulating his density, allowing her to free Hawkeye from his chokehold and send him crashing through the lower levels of the base. But if you look closely, we can see that she is directly manipulating the Mind Stone as it turns red. Vision says that the blade that Corvus Glaive uses to injure him stopped him from phasing, and even though he uses the laser from the Mind Stone on Glaive after being injured, we are left to wonder if the blade somehow interfered with Vision's connection to the Mind Stone itself, thus stopping him from phasing. If the reason that he couldn't phase was because his connection to the stone was weakened, then it's entirely possible that he may not have been able to conjure a beam strong enough to cut through Thanos as easily as his What If counterpart did, and it's highly likely that if this is the case, Vision knows this. Now, let's explore some of the in-universe reasons why Vision didn't at least opt to attempt this method. The first reason comes as a direct result of his programming, as he is primarily a product of Jarvis, the Mind Stone, and the combined intellect of Tony and Bruce Banner. This of course actually has to do with the way that Vision fights and conducts himself, far different than that of Ultron. Unlike Ultron, Vision shows ultimate restraint with his raw power. Vision has been shown to act widely defensive whenever possible, and in fact, he only uses the beam that was used against Thanos in What If against one other organic being. In Age of Ultron, he uses the laser to incapacitate Ultron's sentries, and even prime Ultron himself, but these are quite notably, of course, machines. The only organic being that he attempts to use it on is Corvus Glaive in Infinity War, and even when he hit Rhodey in Civil War, he was aiming for Falcon's thruster, hoping to allow him to glide down without harming him, as is stated by Rhodey in that very scene. Corvus Glaive, however, was able to use his spear to not only block the blast, but redirect it, directly harming Vision and coming incredibly close to hitting Wanda. If Vision knows that this servant of Thanos has the means to redirect the blast from the Mind Stone, then it stands to reason that he would likely have reason to believe that Thanos could do the same, be it with the Infinity Gauntlet or one of the other stones. It stands to reason that with the rest of the 5 Infinity Stones in his possession, Thanos does in fact have some way to combat the power of the Mind Stone. Only in the case of What If, Thanos arrives to find his intel on Earth to be horribly outdated. The presence of Ultron takes him by surprise, and the lack of the Avengers that he had been expecting likely puzzled him, leading to a brief moment of confusion that Ultron took advantage of. It's entirely possible that Ultron only had a small window of opportunity before Thanos snapped back and was once again ready for combat, in which case he could have held on a bit longer. Also worth mentioning is that the motivation behind Ultron and Vision's respective actions in the same scenario. Ultron wasn't concerned with losing the stone or losing half of all life in the universe. He was simply fascinated by the stones and sought more power, allowing him to kill indiscriminately and seek the power of the stones for himself without remorse or consideration outside of how it could better his own personal objective. Vision, however, knew the stakes at hand. He knew that he was already injured and weak, and like we mentioned, he may not have been sure of his abilities in this current state. After all, he had been largely overpowered by 2 of Thanos' henchmen. Therefore, he would likely have doubts about his ability to fend off the Mad Titan himself. Knowing what was at stake, it makes sense why he would ensure that Thanos could never get his hands on all 6 stones, and leave it for the rest of the Avengers to find a way to ultimately defeat him if it meant that he could ensure that half of all life in the universe was safe from Thanos' goals. Vision understood that if he tried and failed, then Thanos would be able to get the full set of Infinity Stones, and the Avengers would lose half of all life in the universe, and therefore chose to take the noble, safe route in giving his own life. But little did he anticipate Thanos being able to use the Time Stone to resurrect him. At the end of the day, this was simply the safer play, as challenging Thanos and losing would be far more detrimental to the universe as a whole, and this likely was simply a risk that Vision was not willing to take, as he was entirely prepared to trade his own life for the safety of the world as a whole. Ultron, however, not only didn't care, but he was in a much more physically fit condition, which may have augmented his power. So to answer a lot of the questions that fans have been asking, according to our theories and what we can surmise, a full-strength Vision, if he were able to catch Thanos off guard and was willing to kill him right then and there, could have in fact defeated Thanos, using the incredibly powerful Mind Stone to cut him in half just as we saw Ultron do. However, Ultron is leagues above Vision in terms of ferocity and willingness to kill without remorse or without hesitation. This hesitation playing a major role. Not only mentioning one of the most important aspects is that the Ultron that we encounter is at full strength. There is no interference between his connection with the Mind Stone. However, as we explained with Vision, there appears to be a lot of interference going on between himself and the Mind Stone, meaning that likely his beams and his ability to phase, as we see in Infinity War, is far more reduced than Ultron in this moment. So to answer the question in very layman's terms, yes, I do believe that Vision could actually have stopped Thanos and defeated him. But given the current circumstances, be it that Thanos is ready to take on the Avengers and the fact that Vision is weakened, it makes a lot of sense that Thanos was able to overpower Vision and the other Avengers with the 5 already assembled stones. But anyway, my friends, what do you think of these explanations? Do you think that these are viable reasons for why Vision didn't at least try to incapacitate Thanos in Infinity War? And if not, do you believe any other reasons that you think that we missed in the video? As always, my friends, hit that subscribe button to assemble and join our team, and have a great day.